Hello, and welcome to Garden Solutions. My name is Charisma McAnulty, and I am your joy cultivator. And today I want to talk about houseplants. Why? Because it's National Houseplant Week, and I'm really excited because I love my houseplants. And I'll talk about them all day long if you let me. I started a conversation on Facebook earlier, and I was asking about how many houseplants people have. And I was really surprised to find out that a lot of people don't have houseplants. I guess this was a surprise to me because my world is plants, and so many of my close friends are gardeners and plant people. But I do know that a lot of my friends are not, and thinking about it, yeah, they don't really have houseplants, but that's okay. And some of us are just super afraid of houseplants because they seem like they're really finicky and hard work. And what typically is true is that we just don't know how to take care of them. Not that they're actually finicky at all. So I thought that I would just talk a little bit about that today. And I want to drop some science on you and let you know why you should have houseplants, what a houseplant really is, and then give a little tutorial on how to take care of your houseplants once you have one. So first of all, what is a houseplant? Well, quintessentially, it's any plant that you have living with you inside of your house. So it can look like anything. You can bring almost any herb will grow inside of your house in the right conditions. It's hard pressed to get a vegetable to go in the house. It just needs most vegetables just need so much more sun than a house can provide. But you can bring in fuchsias and lavender plants. You can bring in hydrangeas for a short period of time until they need to get big and they need to be in the ground outside. But whatever brings you joy, you can have that in your home, and if you can find the right environment for it. So don't be afraid to grow whatever you want in your house. Traditionally, the houseplants that you're going to find in nurseries and retail stores under the category of houseplants is a tropical plant. And you're going to find that most of them like a lot of sun. They don't want tons of water, but they like lots of humidity. If you think about a rainforest, a tropical paradise, you're looking at the understory plants. So a lot of these tropical plants will actually take low light, a lot lower light than you might expect, which makes them fantastic for houseplants because, let's face it, most of our houses aren't just all bright sunshine in every corner at all times of the day, right? But having a living plant someplace just brings so much more life into these spaces that seem a little bit dark. No plant, however, will grow in complete darkness or with only artificial light for small amounts of time. I do have a solution for that though. If you have a bathroom or a guest room or a basement space that you would really love to have a houseplant in, go ahead and put one in there, and right when it starts getting a little bit yellow or it starts like, I really don't like it here, then just switch it out with another one. And what I like to do is I just have two of those same plants that I have in their ideal location somewhere in my house, and then I have the one in the dark location. And then when this one in the dark location starts saying, "Excuse me, I'd like some sunshine," I just switch them out. And then let this one let the one that was in the dark have its ideal location for a couple of months, whatever, until the one in the dark says, "Hey, get me out of here." And you can just switch them out, and you can keep doing this for a long, long period of time. So definitely don't be afraid to put your plants in darkness. Just don't forget about them, because that's when they die. Okay, so then not only do we want to talk about what is a houseplant, because a houseplant, like I said, can be anything that you want if you have the right environment for it. But I want to drop some science on you guys, and my notes are over there, so hold on just a minute. Okay, so I'm gonna get just a little sip of tea real quick. Okay, so a lot of us need that science, right? We want to know, why exactly do I need a houseplant? Because they seem like a lot of work, and they take up space, and they get dusty, and you have to take care of them. Do I really need a houseplant? So I decided to go to one of my favorite sites, which is BioAdvanced. It's a science-based solution site that gives you some science behind, like, really simple science and studies behind pretty much anything that you want to find out about. So I just went there and looked up 5 good reasons to have a houseplant, and boom, there was the article, so you can check it out if you want. But I just took some quick notes, and the number one reason is houseplants create an environment that allows people to breathe easier. And the reason that is because through photosynthesis, which is how a plant takes energy from the sun and creates their roots and their leaves and their flowers. They also, through their leaves, will take the carbon dioxide, which is what we breathe out into the air. They take that out of the air and transform it into oxygen, and in the nighttime they release that oxygen so that we have good, fresh, clean, filtered air to breathe in our homes, which is really special, especially in today's world where there's not a whole lot of really fresh air to breathe everywhere we go. Another really great thing about plants is they increase humidity, which you might be thinking, oh my gosh, my home is so humid already, I don't need that. That just means maybe you don't need as many houseplants, or that you need a different type of houseplant that, and you'll have to do the studies on this, but I know that succulents will actually pull some of that humidity out of the air instead of putting it into the air. But for those of us who do live in more dry environments, increased humidity in the air means less sore throats and dry coughs and dry skin. It also reduces how many like flu and cold symptoms we might experience. Again, with the air, NASA has reported up to an 87% removal of VOCs through photosynthesis in plants. A VOC is a toxin that's released in the air from chemicals like paint and ink and plastics. Rugs have them. There's vinyl fibers in a lot of our clothing, furniture, carpets, even plastic bags that you bring home from the grocery store. And our homes nowadays are so efficient that it actually, and we seal off all that cold and hot air from coming in our homes, but it also traps any toxins that are in the air that are in our homes. We can't get them out of our homes. So plants will actually alchemize that those toxins into basically they transform it into food to create ability for their roots to grow, and then they in turn grow bigger leaves, which then release fresh oxygen into the air for us to breathe. It's a win-win-win, guys. The Kansas State University did a hospital study, and they discovered that patients who have plants in their rooms in the hospital requested way less pain medication than the patients that did not have plants in their rooms. So hello, it's a pain reliever too, and I can vouch for plants just are huge stress reducer. Just huge. I mean, if I have a plant nearby and I can just sort of like focus in on the energy and the positivity that the plant exudes, then my anxiety and my stress level come way down and just calm. I just totally get calm, right? They also have the Royal College of Agriculture in England has proven that there's a 70% increase in attentiveness in students who have plants in the room that they're being taught in, opposed to rooms that have no plants where teachers are trying to teach. The focus is just not as sharp. So that's super cool, right? And I just think in this day and age where we have so much pulling at our attention constantly. We're online, there's people talking to us, there's televisions, our calendars are full, there's just a lot going on, that having anything in our life that will help us to just stay focused and keep our attention on task is just something that's just going to better our lives, right? So how many plants do we really need? I posted that I had 38 plants and my husband challenged me. And we went around the house and like pointed at every single plant and discovered that I actually have 42 plants in my home, which is awesome. I want more. There's definitely space for more, and I'm always incorporating more, and I will have more. But how many do you really need? Science says that you really only need one 9-inch potted plant per 100 square feet to have the full benefits that I just listed. That could look like two 6-inch pots, or a 6-inch and a 3-inch pot. So you could have a couple small plants in each room, or if you have a really big room, then maybe you need 2 9-inch pots. So it doesn't have to be extreme to get these benefits, but I highly recommend following my first rule of thumb, right? And that is what brings you joy. So definitely don't overcrowd your house and feel overwhelmed and I don't want you to have so many plants that you have anxiety about it. Like, oh gosh, I was supposed to have all these plants and now I can't really take care of them and it's just like freaking me out. Well, that's not bringing you joy. Let's not do that, okay? If it's just one small plant, then do one small plant. It's no big deal. But please try incorporating plants into your life. It really makes a huge difference. And there are so many more studies. Just Google, why should I have a houseplant? And you would be amazed at how many studies have been done on houseplants and interacting with houseplants, how plants will interact with you through music and talking and color and sound. They are actually very responsive living organisms that you share your home with. So with no further ado, I'd like to talk to you a little bit about my favorite houseplants that I recommend people who are brand new to plants to grow. So I'm going to take a little tour, which means the video might get a little wonky. Well, behind me, first of all, you can see that I have a philodendron, which is a really common houseplant. Let's see if I can get a picture here. There it is. This one lives on top of my refrigerator. It seems to respond really well to the hum and the light that's provided by my dining room that this side of the refrigerator is in. So that's why it's there. She does get caught in the refrigerator doors from time to time, so be aware of having dangly houseplants in the wrong area. But real quick here, let's get turned around, and I'm going to set you right over here and make sure that it doesn't fall down. Okay. All right. So I have a few little houseplants that I wanted to show you. First of all, okay, my very favorite plant isn't in here. Let's go. Let's go take a walk, shall we? My very first plant that I recommend that all newbies start with is a Spathiphyllum, which they are actually kind of finicky, and you do have to pay attention to them, but that gets you in the mode of paying attention and recognizing the signs and symptoms of your houseplant health. And Spathiphyllums are very forgiving, and they are also really good at communicating. They will wilt when they need some water, but they will also wilt if they have too much water. So the way that you get around that is, oh, my houseplant is wilting. Put your finger down in the soil, and if it's damp, then you do not need to water. If it's wet, you might want to check the drip tray underneath and make sure that it's not, that the roots of that plant are not sitting in water. And if it is, then dump it out and let that plant dry out and see how it responds. Pull off any yellow leaves, any burnt leaves, and let it rejuvenate. But more often than not, with the Spathiphyllum, it starts to wilt just as soon as it starts to dry out, like, I'm thirsty. So it gives you a great indicator, like, my plant looks a little wilty. I better water it. And this is what a Spathiphyllum looks like. Let's see if I can get a good. Let's see. Woo, let's see this way. Okay. Yeah. And so it's also called a peace lily. You'll see that the soil is pretty dry in there. Let's see. Am I getting a good? Nah. Okay. It's pretty dry in there. And I would probably be watering it today, actually. But you could see that she's not really wilting. She's used to me not watering her a whole lot because I don't want my plants to get... What happens is when you water your plants all the time, the cells start to collapse, and then it requires tons of water. So I like to keep my plants a little bit on the dry side, so that I'm not required to water them all the time. I do, if you have subscribed to my email, you will most likely have my PDF on chore charts, and one of the items on that chart is on Wednesdays I water, and that means not that I water every single plant. It means that I walk around and check every one of my plants and see if they need water, and if they do, I water them. So the second favorite plant that I like to recommend newbies is a pothos, which is very similar to this philodendron that I showed you in the beginning, but it is a slightly different family, and again, it will grow in wet soil, dry soil. It responds really well to be cutting all the way back. So if you get these vines start getting like really long and touching the floor, or really long and they don't have any leaves, they're just like vine, leaf, and they start looking kind of scraggly, you could just cut it all the way back down into the pot and it will start rejuvenating. That plant there is one of those plants that I use to switch out with my bathroom plant. My bathroom has okay lighting. It's not fantastic. So I switch those plants out periodically and allow my bathroom light to have, or my bathroom plant to have a whole lot more light for just a little while. And then I switch them back. So that being said, let's talk a little bit about taking care of our plants. A quick recap is my favorite plants for newbies are Spathiphyllums, aka peace lily, or pothos, which can often be called a philodendron when you're in a retail setting that's not a nursery. So either one of those, actually, a pothos or a philodendron, will do really well for new beginners. They both like just average soil. There's nothing special about it. The peace lily will bloom a little white flower if it's in ideal conditions. Don't worry about ideal conditions right now. Just worry about getting those leaves healthy and beautiful and working for you to clean the air in your home. So what do you do once you have a plant and you're ready, you're going to be committed, you're doing it, and you buy a little guy from the store and he looks like this, right? He's just like this little 3-inch pot, and you know that it's going to want to be bigger than this. I don't need to transplant this guy right now, but typically in October I do all of my transplanting. Anybody who needs transplants, anybody who needs soil, because I do a lot of cuttings, I'll do this. I'll go to somebody's house and I'm like, oh my gosh, I just love your plant. This is a prayer plant. And I just love the striking foliage. So I was at my grandmother's and she had one and I was like, I need this. So I took a couple cuttings and put it in water. So this is just in a, here, this is just in a little glass cup, and it has tons of roots, see? And so now I can either detangle these roots and have 2 separate plants, or I could just have a bigger plant and just allow them to grow together and wait to divide them at another time. I'll probably do 2 plants because why not? But that is a really super easy way and cheap way to go ahead and get new plants.